This is Comic Book Shaman, and this piece is called Matthew 22, the Dharma of Fine Distinctions. There's a thing about the Bible and about life itself, really. It's made up of a lot of different simple things, simple ideas that we can understand, and as we hear about them or read about them, we tend to stack them in ways that we understand, and sometimes they take on a complexity that we hadn't anticipated and that we don't quite understand. And Jesus answered and spake unto them again by parables. He said, this is Jesus talking now, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son. Okay? Now that's two different things. He's saying the kingdom of heaven, right? The kingdom of heaven, that's, what we're striving for. The kingdom of heaven is like this. Like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son, and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. The kingdom of heaven is like a king who's throwing his marriage, and he's calling everybody, come to the marriage, come to the kingdom of heaven. But no, they won't come. Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fowlings are killed, and all things are ready, come unto the marriage. But they make light of it and went their ways, one to his farm and another to his merchandise. And the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them. These are people. These are the people that the king sent to say, hey, come to the wedding, come to the kingdom of heaven. And when the king heard thereof, he was wroth. What's going on here? Now it's important to say that this is not God. This is not anybody that you know. This is just an example of this abstract king who is inviting everyone to the kingdom of heaven. It could be anyone. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth. He was mad. And he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up the city. Then saith he to his servants, everyone that he wanted, he invited to the kingdom of heaven, and they burned him, and so he went and destroyed them, okay? But then he says to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. But they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid them to the marriage. Go out and just fill the seats. We got all this food. We don't want it to go to waste. Just get people to come in. They're not coming to a wedding, remember. They're coming to the kingdom of heaven. It's like we chose these people, but, they didn't want it. So we're going to invite anybody to come to the kingdom, to the marriage, or, as Jesus is saying, the kingdom of heaven. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on wedding garment. And he said to him, friend, how earnest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And the man, he was speechless. What do you mean? I was walking down the street and these guys came and said, come on to this party, and so I came in here, Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen. Now, this line, but few are chosen, who is that referring to? Is it referring to the guy in the shabby clothes that got tied up and taken out? Is it referring to the people who were bidden to come and refused to come and then were later killed? Or is it referring to the people that the servants went out on the street and just dragged them in? Well, it's referring to all of them, really. But remember that this is not God talking. This is not Jesus talking. This is the kingdom of heaven. For many are called, but few are chosen. Then went the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. Like, they heard this and they didn't like the way it sounded, and they didn't really quite understand it, I think, but they didn't like it at all. And so they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true. We know that you're true. And they're talking. This is the Pharisees talking to Jesus. We know you're true, and teach us the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any men, for thou regardest not the person of men. So what are they saying here? It's like, Master, we know who you are. We know your lineage and your importance, and you teach, the true word of truth. But you're just not a nice guy, and you don't care who you tell that they're full of it, because that's just your way. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute to Caesar or not? But Jesus, he saw what was going on, and he perceived their wickedness, and said, Why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? Why are you trying to get me in trouble with the Romans? You're the guys with the swords and whatever, And he says, Show me the tribute money. And they brought unto him a penny. And he saith unto them, Whose is the image and superscription? They say unto him, Caesar's. Then saith Jesus unto them, Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. When they had heard these words, they marveled, and they left him and went their way, because they had him. This was what they wanted. The same day came to him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, and asked him, saying, Master, Moses said, if a man die having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up seed unto his brother. In other words, his brother will be resurrected through his seed that he has in common with his brother. Now, there were with us 7 brethren, and at first, when he had married a wife, deceased, and having no issue, left his wife to his brother. Likewise the second also, and the third unto the 7th. And last of all, the woman died also. Therefore, in resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7? For they all had her, It's like they were all putting that seed in that poor woman, but, there was no issue, So what about the resurrection? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Ye do err, not knowing the Scriptures, nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry, nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of God in heaven. And in touching the resurrection of the dead, have ye not read that which was spoken unto you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. It's like, when you're dead, that's it, game over. God is not the God of the dead. These people that they think, well, we're going to be resurrected back, at the blowing, the blowing trumpet or whatever, and the people are going to disappear. No, he says, I am the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine. It was like, what is this? This is it. This is the kingdom of heaven. When the Pharisees heard that he had put the Sadducees to silence, they were gathered together. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him and saying, Master, what is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This was the ultimate. All your heart, with all your soul, and with all thy mind. You have to think about it. This is the first and great commandment, says the Pharisees. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. While the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them, saying, What think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? They say unto him, saying, What think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? The son of David. He saith unto them, Jesus says, How then doth David in spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord said unto my Lord, I shall sit thou on my right hand, and I make thine enemies thy footstool. And no man was able to answer him a word, neither durst any man from that day forth ask him any questions. What does that mean? There it is, He said it all. And he said it all just very simply, very simply, very simply. But the aggregate of all these simple statements is very complex. Why is that? Because, Jesus and God and the kingdom of heaven is right here with us all today. We live in the kingdom of heaven. And if you can understand how to make the fine distinctions in what is being said in the Bible and in everything around you here on earth, that's the key to the highway. It's like life is a series of fine distinctions. People do not instinctively like complexity, but our lives are complex, and our problems are all complex. So, if you think that you're going to find a simple solution to a complex problem, well, good luck with that.
Listen to your woman, but not closely.